Today is a very important day, 21st March. And just remembering what happened on 21st March 1960, 60 people were killed, 180 were wounded. And it's because of them that we today enjoy the rights that we have today. So it's important for us to celebrate this day because as a result of that, we have a constitution that we have the Bill of Rights enshrined into, and we need to continue reinforcing that. And I think that's why 21st May is really important. It's a day for us to continue reinforcing the Bill of Rights that are enshrined in the Constitution and make sure that each and every person continue to enjoy their rights to equality, rights to freedom and to reside, rights to language and culture, rights to life, the basics of human being.
Having said that, do you think that awareness is there in South Africa today?
I think there's more that needs to be done around education, educating most of the younger generation for them to understand the struggles during the apartheid system, the freedom that we enjoy today, where did it come from? So I think there's more that needs to be done because you just talk about humans, right? But when you start asking about the story, most among millennials, they don't seem to understand the correlation of 21st March 1960 and today are celebrating Human Rights Day. So I think we need to do more and more so in our education curriculum. How do you make sure that we infuse these stories so that we don't lose them to the next generation when they come, they don't even understand what Human Rights Day is. So there's need for more education to take place.
Do you think we've advanced in South Africa if we have to look at current challenges that impact on human rights? What are those challenges and how much have we advanced in your opinion?
To be honest, I must say the progress has been made. We have a constitution. Let's start from there. And we recognize the Bill of Rights that is enshrined in the Constitution. So I think there's something that protects us. There's something that we can use to defend ourselves. So that's a very big step forward. But still, we have issues that we are grappling with. Poverty continues to be a big issue. Violence, most of violence against women. In 2015, we had 41,516 rape cases in South Africa. That translates to 114 per day. I mean, this being, first of all, the Women's Month, I think it's a serious issue. Violence against women impedes development, and it's an issue that we need to continue to address. And also unemployment. I mean, last year, according to Stats SA, we had 8.9 million people who are looking for jobs but cannot find work. And youth unemployment in South Africa continues to be the highest in sub-Saharan Africa. So, I mean, if we don't invest in young people, if we don't give them a future, we can't talk of a country having a future. We can't talk about sustainable development. So these are issues that we need, even access to education for disability children. We have 500 million disabled children who don't have access to education. So these are issues that we need to continue addressing, and we have to make it inclusive, and everybody has to be part and parcel of the progress. So if you're talking about human rights, it's everybody equal rights. So how do you make sure that that's translated in our day-to-day communities, but also in the government investment in the social issues, social welfares of the community?
You touched on the issue of violence against women. What are some of the other issues that come up with regards to violations against human rights in South Africa? Or broadly speaking, what stands out for you as an activist in terms of human rights issues in Africa, maybe where there are common threads?
So when you look at, now broadly, when you look at the continent, violence has been used to silence women. Look at Central African Republic, look at Democratic Republic of Congo, where there's constant war going on. Rape is used to silence women. Women are always on the receiving end of this violence, of these wars, and it's not in a good way. And even now, the statistics that are out there, 1 in 3 women have experienced violence, some form of violence. So there's need for us to eradicate violence against women. Women make up more than half of the total population of the world globally.
Sure.
So this is a voice that cannot be ignored. This is a voice that cannot be looked as second-class citizens. And women's rights are human rights. So we cannot look at women's rights in silos and then look at human rights in silos. Women's rights are human rights. So how do you make sure that women are part and parcel of the socio-economic development of our communities? How do you make sure that our young girls are educated? How do you make sure that we eradicate early child marriage? So these are issues that we really we need to start engaging, having constructive dialogue around it,
Sure.
but also make sure that there's intangible investment that's put behind it for us to make progress. I know last year Gambia banned early child marriage, Tanzania banned early child marriage. So there's progress that's going on the continent. It's just not as fast, but I think if we continue having constructive dialogue, making sure that people are informed and armed with the right information, and holding our governments accountable and calling them out on corruption, I think will make the step forward that we need to make.
Sure. Being a powerful voice as an advocate for non-violence against women, what programs really stand out for you, having made these recommendations now? Are there any concrete programs where you are seeing traction being made in terms of spreading that awareness and educating people?
When it comes to violence against women, UN has done a really good job of actually mobilizing civil society organizations on the continent. In sub-Saharan Africa, they have their country offices. And just last year, there was this case of hyena practice in southern parts of Malawi, where girls have to sleep with this man who was HIV positive for them to be initiated into adulthood. And the story was captured by BBC, and the moment I saw it, I actually emailed the executive director of UN Women, and I told her that UN Women has to do something about this. This is just beyond me. This is violation of human rights. These girls deserve a better life and should not be put through this. And the next thing, they already mobilized civil society organization, they already reached out to the government, and 2 days later, the president called for the arrest of the guy who was involved in the hyena practice. And for the first time, Malawi actually enacted their gender law. So the guy was actually arrested as an example that some of the cultural practices are outdated and we cannot continue to promote them in our society.
So you were very instrumental in getting that done.
Yeah, and I think that's our role in our society, where we have to learn to speak out. We have to learn to bring these perpetrators to public. Sure. And I think it's a role of everybody in the society, not only my role, not only your role, but it's everybody in the society. Because unless we start bringing these perpetrators to light, then more and many more young girls will continue suffering in silence, and that's a violation of their rights.
Mm-hmm. Very disturbing, but very insightful discussion. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy Human Rights Day.
Happy Human Rights Day to you too.
Thank you.